Nobody touch.
It's working.
Dear Dhamma friends, we are going to have a talk today. So everyone settle down and give the consent 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Idha uso bhikkhu sīlavā koti Vātimokka samvara sambuddho viharati Ācāra gocara sampanno Anumattesu vajjesu bhayadassāvi Samādāya sikkati sikkhapadesu tīti. Dear Dhamma friends, whenever we are getting together for a retreat, specifically for a residential retreat, is often in a tradition to have a certain 6 hour or hours to a Dhamma talk, that is to say, giving a talk and listening to it, in order to increase our theoretical knowledge or the book knowledge, or that means learning according to the teaching of the Buddha. That is one way of facilitating our endeavors or our effort, that is to say, to see things there. So likewise, there are 5 things for the prescribed one must take care in order to facilitate this kind of correct observation or see things as they are. One thing is this listening or understanding the theoretical basis. The other one is, that may be the today's talk also, one has to observe certain amount of moral restraint, and with that only one going to listen to a talk. And yet another way is, the third way is, have an open discussion so that you can rectify your doubts and kind of thing. So one is facilitated or endowed with these 3, become moral, theoretical understanding, and after discussion, then one can try development of concentration and the insight meditation. This is how we are stepwise evolving and developing towards the correct view, or towards the kind of radical reflection. So with that idea in day-to-day timetable, we have allocated this time for the talk. So before the arrival regarding this hour, when we are discussing, some suggestions came to regarding the topic. That is to say, we are going to take one particular topic and going to deliver talks daily with that particular topic as a series of talks. For that, this particular discourse delivered by the Buddha, known as Sangiti Sutta, came as a proposal. So that particular discourse that is known as Sangiti Sutta is very important and have a lot of features, significant features to us in today's atmosphere. So I also thought better to take that particular discourse, but that is a very, very long one. So therefore, it came under the long discourses, Dīgha Nikāya, and when you go to the structure of the sutta, of course we can't cover all what discussed within this residential retreat. So I selected some part and partial of that particular sutta, considering that will give a kind of a complete coverage and addressing to the most of the important topics. So going into the crux of the teaching, I would like to draw some attention towards the beginning of the sutta, under what circumstances the Buddha, or Venerable Sariputta of course in this particular case, delivered this particular sutta. By reading it, it appeared that this is towards the lattermost part of the Buddha's life. He was very old and drawing near 80s, and he was traveling in a particular place called Malla province, and when he was there were 500 disciples following, together with senior disciples like Venerable Sariputta, Moggallana and others. And coincidentally, in that area, there were literally called clan. They had a first ever democratic kind of a ruling, and they put up a new parliament or new meeting house, and that is completed. And meanwhile, they came to know Buddha is close by, and therefore they went and invited the Buddha, telling that there is a newly built hall. No one used it well, so therefore I invite you to go there and inaugurate or declare open that particular building. So Buddha accepted, and then they went there and decorated the hall with the carpets, light, water, and all the other necessary thing, and went back and invited the Buddha to him. Until we have did all final arrangements, please go and inaugurate and declare open the building. So it's very in detail it mentioned. Buddha take a square building like this, hall like this. He sit against the west wall facing the eastward, and the monks, those who followed, about 500, they took the west wall and sitting facing the Buddha, the east side, and in both the sides of the Buddha, the deity, the Vajraputta, the Malla clans, people came and sit. And in that situation, the Buddha asked Venerable Sariputta, I have a severe back pain. I'm sorry, I can't take. At the beginning, Buddha is accepting this and give a little kind of a cordial talk with the lay people. And it says it went up to the late night, and after that the Buddha says, now it's time up, you also have some work at home. I think it's better It will take own time. And once they have gone, observing the disciples or the other bhikkhus, they found they are very alert, not still sleepy, and feel like they will talk. But it felt kind of a back pain, and therefore the Buddha, summarizing the situation, asked Venerable Sariputta, you see, monks are very alert, not sleepy. I feel it is a good time to give a talk, but I personally feel weak and I have a backache. So let me have a nice rest side by, and you come to the chair and give a talk. So realizing the situation, when the Sariputta accepted the invitation from the Buddha, and accordingly Buddha reclined and took a rest. And when the Sariputta started delivering the talk, that is how the background came into being. And at the same time, during the contemporary time of the Buddha, there were 6 other masters. They had their own disciples, they had their own philosophy, and one of them was Nigantanatha Buddha, and he passed away. And after the passing away, there had been a lot of scission and separation and kind of sectarianism. They are separating each other, fighting each other, that kind of thing is happening. So Venerable Sariputta take that as an example. He addressed to the other bhikkhus or the disciple of the Buddha and says, you see, the Nigantanatha Buddha, the leader, he passed away, and his teaching was not very consistent, and his lineage was broken. People are fighting each other, criticizing each other, telling you are not up to the monastic code, what you are telling is not what our teacher really given the emphasis. So therefore, I would like to challenge you, if possible, please disprove me. Likewise, there's a lot of quarreling and a lot of misunderstanding. So, presenting that case, when Sariputta says, now after the great demise or passing away of the Buddha, same thing can happen. So therefore now, keeping the Buddha still is living as an eyewitness, we must have kind of a foresight and have our ways and means to face this situation. And now he going to come out with the precautions, what to do and how to face under such circumstances. So the Venerable Sariputta says, taking the Buddha still as he was living on eyewitness, we must try to collect all the teaching and put it in the formalities, so that we must understand what is the skeleton. We must understand what is the flesh. We must understand what is the skin. And that is how we must prepare this corpus of all the knowledges. And verily, Venerable Sariputta is the most qualified person. He was the Major General regarding the Dhamma. So with that idea, he came out with the skeleton of the Dhamma. And that may be the first thing ever in the human history where someone collected all the information, the corpus, the totality, the body of information, and put it in a systematic order. And then, even if there are any quarreling or any fighting, it may be only on the trivial things. At the basic skeleton, the flesh, the skin must be already suggested and seconded in front of the Buddha. And Venerable Sariputta is aptly or verily qualified for that. So therefore this particular sutta is very, very important as far as the communication is concerned. May not be equally important for the enlightenment of the particular person or the singular person or personal thing, But this is mostly related to the external sasana or the preservation of the sasana, and to understand what is the authentic, what is the basic teaching of the Buddha, what is the gist of the meaning of the teaching. And with that, of course, one person can take it for the granted and take, this is the crux, this is the skeleton, and he or she can live up to that, take them as guidelines, and when and where met up with another person in the same discipline, they can agree upon on this skeleton, because it has been already suggested and already seconded just in front of the Buddha. So therefore, the compilation is first and foremost important. It must come through an authentic person. He said he must be a role model, and he must be already accepted by the Buddha, and he must have the oratory capacity and authentic capacity, so that Venerable Sariputta is exemplifying that role. And now Venerable Sariputta is coming out and he says, whenever such a corpus presented in a systematic way, the best way to preserve is occasionally and on and off, all the disciples or representative of the disciple should recite the same thing cordially to indicate this is what the Buddha accepted, and by reciting they give their consent as well as their deepening of their understanding, and there is no much to quarrel about, fight about, or sectarianism. This is the crux. So therefore, the technique when Sariputta presented was the cordial recitation. Accordingly, this sutta is known as Sangiti Sutta. Sangiti means you know what is the authentic teaching, and you take time and personally get together under one roof and recite the same. So therefore, it is becoming a cordial action and preservation of the same, and polishing and brushing of the same, and passing it to the next generation. This is how the Sangiti came into being. And later, when you are studying the historical development of the Buddhism as such, for this corpus that is called Dhamma, as such, so far there were 6 synods, 6 that kind of a historical gatherings, and accordingly what is authentic is being well preserved. If I have to give a short history, soon after the great demise of the Buddha, passing away of the Buddha, 100 days after, there was the first synod. And at that time, there were a lot of disciples trained directly under the Buddha and recognized by the Buddha. There were 500 selected disciples, all were around, and they recited for 3 months. And this was the basic map. By that time, it was Sariputta is no more, the Buddha no more, and some of the senior disciples were there. But luckily enough, the map was there, the chart was there, the compilation was there, and this became the skeleton. But of course, when you read the Sangiti Sutta, you don't find so much of a corpus, so much of a content, just like the first synod. It went 3 months of recitation, but the formalities, the formation, the presentation, this is the basic teaching, basic model it was. And after that, the second, this thing happened 100 years later, and then during the time of Emperor King Asoka, it says 236 years later, the third one, and the fourth one happened in Burma. And when the Buddhism came to Sri Lanka also, there had been Another one, it is only for the monastic code, and there it is not the Dhamma Vinaya, it is only Vinaya, that is a monastic code, but the teaching was not there. And sixth one was the happened in 1956 in Burma. Now everyone accepts this is what the crux of the teaching. And we Thero are there, as happy enough to say we are preserving, we have the authentic teaching, because the history is driving back to the time of the Buddha. So therefore, the thing happened to the other Sasana, that is Nigattanatha Buddha, never took place as far as the teaching of the Buddha is concerned, because there were some immunity, kind of a vaccine. Before that happened, the prevention was there. In the Nigattanatha Buddha Sasana, only curative thing you can do, healing. Because disease, already disease. That knowing that only when Sariputta started his presentation of Sangiti Sutta, and this is kind of preventive. And after that, of course now, even now, there are a lot of argumenting, a lot of criticism on the different sects of the teaching of the Buddha or disciples of the Buddha. But the crux of the teaching, the corpus, the skeleton, nothing to be debatable about. So, in that sense, this sutta is very important if someone to understand how was the historical development of the teaching of the Buddha. And then, it is, when you read the sutta, there are a lot of things come under the category of one. These topics should come under the category of one. And after giving some examples, then members are to go to the category of two. Some discourses talk about points, 2 points, and then 3, 4, 5, like a numerical classification. The particular part that I selected was under the category of tens. So therefore, we have 10 points under this part, and the particular sutta is concluding after giving the category of 11. So this part you find towards the end of the Sangiti Sutta. And now you have Pali version, you have Sinhalese version for people like us, and now English version also available. So if someone is going to study with the reference in the books, what I mentioned will be somewhat helpful, someone to trace back the situation and get the quotations. So if someone is serious, they can go back to the book and get the basic teachings or the basic points. So as far as the 10 points are concerned, they are known as Dasa Natakarana Dhamma. Natakarana means if you come to know certain amount of your character traits and your role model, and if you find it is good, which therefore that has to be preserved. So these are the 10 points help someone to give protection towards the spiritual life. So therefore, this is not to introduce or giving the introduction. This is for the people, those who are fairly introduced, they tend to know, and they are already with the positive assessment regarding their own decision. And if he or she is going to follow these 10 points, their progress will be steady and their progress will be much protected. So with that, someone has to learn it, keep it by heart it, and scrutinize it, and apply to one's own life, and therefore whatever you started will be progressing without much of hindrances. So I think for a group like us, concentrated on this residential kind of retreat, taken this message seriously into one's heart. So therefore, if he or she is going to learn little in detail these points, and definitely it will foster, help protect one's already earned spiritual life. And in my way of presenting, already earned mindfulness will be slowly become steadfast. So if someone wish to make your mindfulness steadfast, these 10 points will be very important, someone to keep it in mind. And I am sure all the 10 points are already endowed with each of every one of you. But recognizing of the same and supporting and facilitating will become an individual endeavor. But when and where you as a singular particular person, when and where you are following it, knowingly or unknowingly, it's good vibration going to give a social impact. It's going to give a definitely moral impact, ethical impact. So therefore, when you are doing and when you are studying, it appears like a personal issue or selfish kind of issue. But definitely, more and more you practice, it is going to give a very good vibration and ultimately leading to the ethical values, and that is much necessary in the today's life. So with that kind of introduction, I would like to go into the very first point. That is what I recited at the beginning of the Dhamma talk. Idauso bhikkhu sīla vāgoti. The first and foremost thing with respect to your own protection towards your spiritual life is one has to be moral. So this is being explained a little bit in detail. Patimokka Samprasangato Vihati. There are 222 rules, accepted rules for the high ordained monks, and 300 odd number of rules for higher ordained nuns. So these are the most important and the highest moral code found within this dispensation. So presenting that as the model, it says one must be abiding, one must be restrained according to this moral code, or sometimes called monastic code. Being it is the highest, lay people, at least they compromise for 5 precepts. So the range is from 5 precepts up to the Patimokka, that means 227 rules for the males and 300 odd number for the females. This range is known as Sīla. That's called Sikkhapada Sīla. That means the precepts. But the overall thing we call moral restraint or ethical responsibilities towards the society in which you live. And that Āchāra Gochara Sampāda. You must know the do's and don'ts of your society wherever you live. Because society to the society, geographical location to another geographical location, these norms such as do's and don'ts, should and shouldn't, always changing. So therefore, wherever you live, you must abide by the do's and don'ts of that society. So therefore, you must be vigilant, diligent towards the moral code of the society wherever you live. Anumantesu ayyesu vaidasāya. Whenever you are going to adopt yourself, there may be a lot of lapses and a lot of mistakes and faults. So you can't do away with them. But this particular point is that what expect out of you in this particular point is you must be alert, you must be responsible about your faults, about your slips. Even if it is a minor thing, you must try to restrain yourself or tighten your belts, understanding, and slowly be aware of even the slightest mistakes. So therefore your attention, your diligence, your vigilance towards your physical and verbal deeds must be under the light of mindfulness. But it is not to get regret, but to keep an account, keep bookkeeping. And then you know these are the mistakes can happen, and these are the repercussions that can create towards the society in which you live. So therefore your responsibility to understand and try to do away with even the slightest mistake, and there you must develop kind of attention. And samadaya sikkati sikkhapadesu. So if you wish to protect the already developed your moral life, your mindfulness according to this retreat point of view, you must invite and you must offer yourself in order to have precepts, and there is no one to impose upon them, impose upon another person. So you must go forward and request. The Buddha, out of his omniscient knowledge, he presented it, but he never make it commandments. They are very crucially important or interesting feature what we find in the teaching of the Buddha. He presented to the last letter detailed rules and regulation, monastic code, but never make any command. He never threat you that you must do it, otherwise blah blah blah. So therefore the particular person, to understand the benefits of what the Buddha enumerated, he or she must be a wise person. And no one can dictate terms upon the other things. So therefore the precepts you find in the sasana is each and everyone is rational. No mistakes, no superhuman powers. Before going to the fulfillment of the particular rule, you must understand the rationale behind it. You must understand the pros and cons. You must understand the advantages and the disadvantages. It's of course weigh against your past experience. Not with the supreme knowledge of the Buddha. Not with someone come and command and give a commandment. So therefore, even though it is simply reduced to the morality, it has a indirect relationship with the wisdom. So therefore, this set of Dhamma, the 10 points, going to end up with the wisdom. But that's the very wisdom that you are going to earn out of the spiritual life. You have to reinvest on this moral restraint or ethical commitments. More and more with the wisdom, you will understand more and more why I am doing and what are the benefits you are going to earn it. So therefore, one can ask, what is the youngest age one person can understand and go into the precepts? And how much knowledge you should have to understand the teaching of the Buddha with respect to the monastic code. When I was in Nissarana, one day there was a Japanese group. They came and they were very happy to see the monastic atmosphere, and they asked that one day, when you are going to give meditation retreat and instruction, what is the minimum age you prescribe for a person to come? Then I told them, we haven't even thought about that kind of thing. But the only thing is, as far as Nissarana is concerned, that particular person should have his or her rationality to come here and meditate, not by pressure of their parents or teachers or anything. If it is coming due to the pressure of the parents or teachers, that means that particular person is not ready to commit. So he or she must understand. Sometimes some Muslim people and some other from the other religions, they come and ask. So it is my duty to tell the verbal or word-to-word translation and enlighten him regarding the meaning and ask him, are you ready? Do you understand the task that you are going to do? Or you are going to just do out of just mere faith? Or due to the fear to the nether world or something like that? If it is so, it is not advisable. You must understand yourself why you are going to take up these precepts. So likewise, here also I would like to say, in the today's discussion also I mentioned, we came to an agreement of 8 precepts. That is to have a common ground for us to work. And it is not a commandment. Each and every must therefore must understand what is the meaning of these precepts. And why should I go behind or take these precepts and practice it? So therefore, don't take it as coming from a superior being or coming from the heaven or coming from the mystic roots. Each and every must understand word by word. That is why the Buddha says, if you wish to be a high ordained person, at least you must be at the age of 20. And if you are to be just novice, the minimum he mentioned earlier was 14, 15. But after, due to a special case, he wanted to know, can that particular person, the young child, chase away a crow? And a crow comes, and if he is having the knowledge to how to chase away a crow, that particular person knows, he has enough understanding to come and enter into Sasana as a novice. So likewise, each and every monastic code, it has its own case history. So when you go into that, you find a very deep Dhamma or deep philosophical understanding for each and every rule, each and every precept. So just like meditation or just like learning suttas or discourses, there's a huge corpus of knowledge regarding the monastic code. Sorry to say, nowadays, due to various reasons, that part not given enough attention. So therefore, we are creating so much of repercussion, so much of misunderstanding, so much of miscommunication. And ultimately, we develop, instead of the protection, we develop suspicion. We develop suspicion among each and everyone. So it is among religions, among nations, everywhere. So if you have any kind of a suspicion, any kind of unprotection or vulnerability, please try to understand. You have to give in to these precepts, understand it, and when and where you accept them, there's a huge protection you feel. And therefore, easily we can say, lack of protection going to give rise to frustration, tension, burning, torturing. So you see, UN, UNDP, all the world organizations going and talking and discussing how to get rid of this the mental tension in the world. And they are finding ways and means, golden formulas and this project and that project. That bloody fellow do not have a moral conduct. Even the people, those who are drawing the rules and regulations. So how can we expect any kind of a global or common or normal stage for this mutual understanding or protections to take place? So therefore, as far as the world, as far as the society at large is not ready to accept this moral conduct, not responsible morally towards others, the frustration, the tension, the torturing, the burning nature, never you can find the end. But instead, by learning this, by understanding, whatever the chaotic situation in the world, you can live in peace. You can live in contentment. You can live in happiness as well as you are moral. So therefore, if you are going to take the voting or ballot regarding the moral and immoral, you can see the proportion. Definitely you are going to defeat even before the ballot. Moral people are so minority. So democratically it is a lost fight. But the point that I am going to make is, even the whole world or society at large is immoral, and we have no backbone to declare and live a moral life, even at the large level. Individually, each of us understand the meaning of the precept and rationale behind it, and put that, apply yourself and see the result under your very nose. Then you can find whatever the world, external things is there, it immaterial. If you are morally abide, if you are restrained yourself, you can have your own peace of mind. You can have your own contentment. You can have your own solitude. And that is the invitation here. And don't think, even though today's BC is a chaotic and leading to the more and more chaotic situation, the situation during the time of the contemporary time of the Buddha also exactly the same. Majority were immoral. Even among monks, ordained people, even during the time of the Buddha. When you are specifically reading, I hope you may not get enough chance to read and study the monastic code. You can understand during the time of the Buddha so much of fighting among monks, the Buddhist monks. And still they are fighting on the moral code or Dhamma. No difference. And Buddha, when and where such thing happen, take this as a case history. He prescribed, if such a thing happen, please see, this is the way out. This is how these 227 rules came into being. It is just not assimilated Buddha out of in a dream or sleep. Cases, there were cases, and when compared to that, if you are going to do a detailed study toward the moral code or monastic code, you can understand the world never changed even by a centimeter, exactly the chaotic situation of during the time of the Buddha as well as here, exactly the same. So therefore you can't have a plan to make the whole population to take under the moral conduct or restrainment. Even the Buddha never thought about. If you are going to think, you will be labeled as a moralist, fanatic, eccentric. Impossible. But you can make your commitment. You can make your presentation, presenting yourself to the moral code, and slowly, according to the contemporary situation, increase or go for higher rules, and that is how you can increase your protection. So therefore, at the basic level, it says when and where becoming Buddhist. Want to become Buddhist means taking refuge of the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. Simply by taking that refuge of the triple gem, you become the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. And it is already understood, you are abiding by 5 precepts. So therefore, other people coming from the other religion, they think the 5 precepts are the characteristic features of Buddhists, together with 3 refugees. But the 5 precepts, when you go analyze it, it says not to kill, or not to steal, or not to have sexual misconduct, or not to have verbal misdeeds, lying, slandering, harsh words and tale-telling, and not to entertain intoxicants. They are not Buddhists, they are just human. They are human ethical code. And verily you can understand Emperor King Asoka made them as Asoka rules, not the Buddhist rules. They prescribed in the whole India and everyone accepted in that way. He made his whole regime somewhat moral. So therefore, don't think it is a command or reprimanding someone must be holder of 5%. There is no such a thing. Whenever you are going to gauge other person accordingly, whether he is having the 5% or not, you may be just a moralist and you may be just losing your mindfulness here and now. So therefore, when and where you are going to take these moral precepts, consider there are two dimensions. One thing is how much it is appealing and applicable to oneself. And the second thing is how it is working in society at large. So Buddha never talk about the consideration and worries with respect to the society at large. Instead, he gave very detailed, very precise consideration for one's own moral conduct. He says, if someone is not abiding by moral code, one must not restrain one's physical and verbal deed with respect to the killing, stealing, sexual conduct, verbal misdeeds and intoxicants. His life will be throughout self-accusing. So such a person, whenever the daylight reduces and night darkness sets in, they develop kind of a phobia towards the darkness. They are not happy because their self-criticism is becoming increasing when the darkness comes. Whenever they become sick, they become so upset. Whenever they are reaching the old age, they become so upset. Whenever they are to think about the death, they are so upset. So they are forever torturing due to the self-criticism. So immoral life, there should not have any jurisdictional or penal code to punish. That particular person is in tormentation, in burning, in torturing by itself. So that is why we simplify and say it's called what is called frustration, or mental tension, or burning, or torturing. So that is because one's own immoral life. And instead of searching and finding way out in the materialism, or finding fault with another agent, or past, or future, or other places, is just sick kind of consideration. Instead, one has to understand this frustration and my tension, everything is because of my lack of morality, or moral integrity, or moral responsibility, or restrainment. Knowing verily, if he or she is going to start moral life by precepts, then and there he or she can understand the consequences of the moral and immoral life. So I am very, very, under my very nose, I know my life after the age 26 is no moral life. It was a young, just angry young man, AYM. Do all the breaking of the rules, and that was my hobby. And no one challenged me. Was still I am in a pressure principle. I am going on. And if anyone going to come and tell you that, of course I am not breaking rule as such, or I am not transgressing it, but to my heart, I know I am an irresponsible person as far as the morality is concerned. Luckily or unluckily, I met one monk, and he told that you have to pay for that. Then I told, if it is so, I must have kind of a friction now. No, in due time it will come, nothing to worry. So I was arguing with him, because at that time, at the age 26, you can understand. You are in a very principle and you can break it still. No one knows, you are not caught up yet. And then he told, don't go for imposing moral code, but instead be aware. And slowly I start feeling yes, now is my prime age and good time, I don't feel it. But when you become old age and sick and kind of thing, if such a backlash is going to happen, what will be the consequences? Then you don't change it quickly. Be mindful about your mistakes. Be mindful about your slips, falls. So earlier it appeared like a self-tormentation. Why should I worry about my own criticism towards myself? But when and where you see it, going to observe it, you see that earlier the better. Whenever you are breaking rules, and if you become habitual and addicted, very difficult. When it is emerging, if you can be aware and mindful, then you have a chance to take it to the correct path. And not only that, slowly you find kind of a personality development, kind of a moral strength is going to increase, but it is starting painfully slow manner. Painfully in a slow manner. But to your wisdom you can understand, but slowly it is gathering the momentum. Once it is gathered, once you come up to a certain moral frame, you find now nothing to hide. You can share with any person, and therefore your accessibility for moral people, for moral players increases. You never develop inferiority. So likewise, within one life, one can easily understand, and the most important and most significant character in the history of Buddhism is the person called Angulimala. He has been a murderer and a first-class terrorist, and he has killed numerically 999 people, and he wanted to complete the wall by killing 1,000 people. But before that he had many other number of killings, but with the counts 999, and the last one, even the mother comes, he was about to kill. And knowing that, understand the Buddha confront him and go to him, ultimately convinced he can't kill the Buddha, ultimately he convinced, and ultimately he became the most powerful, the personality among the other monks after he became a moral person within one life. So, and then onward, his blessings and his recitation became very famous whenever a mother suffering from the labor pain, the parturition, excruciating pain. So when such a thing happens, if you recite the particular sutta named after Angulimala and give that recited water, then there is a belief their labor pain will be reduced. They are natural pains. Because of the Angulimala, he underwent, first he was inflicting suffering to the others, ultimately became completely the moral person, and that change makes such a determination power. Even now in the traditional countries, they recite Angulimala Pilita in order to get rid of this, the natural pains. Likewise, within one life, one can understand how much it is going to give the benefit in terms of lack of self-criticism. Otherwise, we are from morning to evening, we are hating myself. This is why the present day life. Throughout the samsara, what we have done is hating oneself. You will not be happy to listen to that kind of thing. And I will give a simple example. Just take for granted, being here now, I am is the most beneficial spiritual moment for yourself. But even if you accept it, knowingly, this is the best moment. See how difficult to keep in this at the moment. Mind is running the past, future, other places and other beings, and collecting frustration, collecting tension. collecting burning, collecting torturing. So therefore we are hating the here now I am. Otherwise it must be something cordial and easily you can go there and abide. You see how difficult? That means throughout what we do is hating oneself, hating the present moment, hating here, hating now. Due to that very bloody, unsettled situation only, we search knowledge outside. Therefore, whole worldly knowledge is due to this hate. If you are here and now contented, for what the new research? For what you need any knowledge? Knowledge because you are unprotected. You feel secured with new kind of formulas, with kind of weapons, with new kind of materiality, new kind of powerful people. So much so you hate the here now where. At least try within these 7-8 days to keep the mindfulness here now where. You can find how difficult, because we have been so conditioned to be unmindful. We are so conditioned to be neglected, negligence, not to be here and now. Our whole hobbies, our whole professional skills, our whole so-called knowledge is make ourselves eccentric. And we love that knowledge. We love that knowledge, that skillfulness and know-how, so much so you justify not to be here and now. That simply indicates throughout, habitually, we hate here now where. So now we are with our whole effort, full time, try to bring it back on the here now where. That's the kind of, I would say, the biggest loving kindness one can do ever. Be here and now. And the biggest compassion you can practice to the society at large. Be here and now. Therefore, it is fully justified from the samatha point of view or concentration point of view. And the other side, be here and now is the only way to see things as they are, to develop insight. So therefore, both in samatha and vipassana, present moment is so precious and so free of charge. So it's a walkover, no rivalry, but still we find difficult because of our conditioning. So therefore we are in a self-hatred. So can anyone expect compassion out of a person who is in self-hatred? Never. They are simple facts. They are one-to-one facts. So therefore, when and where someone becomes Dhamma, learn the art of loving oneself, loving the present moment, loving here and now I am, that particular person should not have any kind of a special exercises to make loving kindness to other people or any creative thing. Being here and now itself is such a potential, a high potent thing. So therefore, learning, understanding that now I am not compassionate to myself, I have no loving kindness to myself, that is why mind is eccentric. So with understanding of that, all keeping here and now is the way to give or do away with self-hatred, self-criticism. So when and where mindfulness come into being, rather I would say your self-criticism will be increased than decreased. That's why you must have discussions. Otherwise you will think that your mindfulness is doing something wrong. You must understand the mindfulness. No. Whenever the mindfulness come into being, your self-criticism increases, amplified. Very prominent it becomes. And ultimately when it is coming to the discussion, if the other person also says the same thing, other person also says the same thing, then only you can understand now only mindfulness is growing. So it's a very good sign. Keep it in mind, it is not negative. It's an indication, now only you come into know. Otherwise you are covering it up. You are escapism, you are in hobbies, you never expose yourself into you. But when the mindfulness comes into being, you feel how much kind of a hatred I have. And lucky enough in a society like this, we can see, we can share with other people, they will also feel the same. So we are in a Dhamma family, we are in a kind of a relationship in order not to have self-criticism. And this is the first and foremost thing, under your very nose, you can understand it, even though it is come under the monastic code or under the Sila, it's directly connected with living Dhamma, the insight meditation. The second point the Buddha is making, even though if you try to do away with self-criticism by hobbies and escapism and this and that, the criticism from the outside people, you can't do away with. So therefore you are answerable whenever you are doing something wrong, that means you are doing something you should not do. After a certain time, the others come into being, because you can't commit mistakes without another human being. Definition of the mistake is you are related with another person. That is how the ethics come into being, the morality come into being. So when you keep on doing the same thing, ultimately the criticism level against you by the society also becoming a serious thing. And then you become answerable. Then you may feel more than civilization, the barbaric life is easier. Go back to the forest and live in a very unresponsible life. But when you are in the society, civilized society, we are answerable. And if you are going to do the mistakes again and again, the criticism from the outside is the second one. The third one is the penal code, the social code, and we have rules and regulations. When and where you are transgressing, one day the police will come and catch you and put you to the court, and you will be at the jail or given to punishment. So any person, even though you are caught or not, you know, as far as you are committing, at any time you are vulnerable to this penal code or the social code, is the third fear. The fourth one is, in the Buddhist circles, we feel good begets good and the bad begets bad. If you are going to do bad, at the end of the life, you will go to the destined of the nether world. Whatever you do, Jactavis, in this life here, you have no saying, no governability to the life after the death, and that will decide about the career. And by that time, it is too late. So only thing is, you have to be mindful here now, and abide by the moral code. So soon you will start the lack of self-criticism, lack of criticism from others, and the lack of fear towards the rules and regulations in the world, the civil code, and the fear to the nether world. So that is what we call the contentment. This is what you call the peace of mind. That's what you call, you have the fear of the freedom from fear. And for the moment, as far as you are not going to take this in a way the Buddha contemplated and considered, you find whenever you do something mistake and the punishment happens, you find mistake of outside people. You attribute that to another person or another place or another time. But when the mindfulness comes to being, everything comes into your responsibility, and you find it is easier to be moral. And what is the mistake happens in the known history, short history was, with the development of science, with the development of the technology, they kept away the moral code aside. And they decided our happiness, our success is completely dependent on the material part or the consumerization, and therefore, as far as scientific development is concerned, maybe about 200 years, so much so, the moral values was eradicated, washed off from the societies. So now, after the 200 years, we are in a generation, we get the backlash. Imagine the second generation and the third generation, how much they are unconcerned about the moral values. Even the top class politicians or scientists or whatever may be, they know present day of consumption, consumerization leading to global warming. And they stop it. Even if they wish, no. And the pollution of the environment, rarely they know. And basically what happens is the top class people, they do not wish to stop it because their profit margin will be reduced. But even if they wish, they are in such a momentum, what we are going to leave behind for our second generation, third generation. They will curse. Still, even now they are cursing. This is what you call addiction. And the America, 1 out of 10 person is mad. About 40% or more in full frustration, mental diseases, increasing at a rate, even at the age of children. And the information, day by day it is coming. Is there any clue, any way out? No. Because they never think the problem lies in morality. Never. But it's a shortcut. So therefore, we are, by practicing, we 20, 30 people, we can't change the world. But anyway, we are highlighting the answer, which is that we go from the top high tension to low tension. We are with the high frustration to low frustration, going from the high burning nature to the low burning nature, and that will give a, even though in the personal basis, the answer. So therefore, imagine 2,600 years now gone in the dispensation, but still it is working. So therefore, even one single person going to take it up and try to put into practice and to gain this kind of a peace of mind, this kind of a contentment, his or her behavior is more louder than words. Definitely is going to give a role model, example, personally and in society at large. So therefore the Buddha never impose, never consider as a commandment, and he says, Panyavanta satilang silavato panya. Sila paribhavito panya paribhavito hoti. Panya paribhavito sila paribhavito hoti. Anyone who is moral is wise. Anyone who is wise will be morally abiding. Anyone is unwise, they are immoral. Even anyone immoral is simply unwise. So therefore, Buddha says these are the two peak Dhamma principles, which is that is called universal principles. So at the beginning it appears like a moral, appears like more towards faith and accepting as abiding, and but later justification, justifying it through wisdom. But some wise people start from the other side. They understand the rationality behind this moral conduct, and they take it, and immediately they can see the results without the justification from the faith. So therefore, whether you start from the faith base or wisdom base, when you keep on practicing, you by your own experience, before long will understand you come from the frictional world to the least frictional path. You come to the uncomfortable zone from the comfort zone. So it is when it is happening slowly, you may attribute it to the wisdom, you may attribute it to the other qualities, but when Sariputta is going to quote the Buddha, he says that is because with your commitment you set the moral conduct, and more you put into practice, you are the very person going to verify experience within your life. More and more you come to the least frictional path, more and more you come to the comfort zone, you get enough time for meditation, You get enough time for your timetable, and definitely, of course, you will be more economical in using the material, and you will try your best or use the material for utility value and invest the balance of the time for this, not on the moral conduct, but the concentration, restrainment and the wisdom. And likewise, they are gathering the momentum and reciprocal approach from the wisdom and the morality come into being, and slowly, normal citizen John, a human person, could develop and I'll come up to the spiritual person, end up with this moral training and the concentration and wisdom, and you can understand why other people are doing mistakes. You will never punish them, you will never underestimate them, you will understand they don't know. They don't know the path. And if they know, of course they will put themselves into, and easily they will verify and justify. So therefore, listening and digesting and rationalizing or deducing of these kind of things appear like going against the grain, but still practical, still practical. So therefore we are maybe little number of people with respect to the population at large. We are trying our best to keep it up with the moral conduct. And when the Sangita says, this is the starting point of your spiritual life. And with that base, we will listen tomorrow. But other qualities that when Sangita says, as far as the protection is concerned. So therefore, please understand, we have something to protect. Be human, precious. And understanding this preciousness, the natural intrinsic goodness, don't think in a destructive way or negative way. And next thing is, just by thinking positive also you can't stop it. But moral. When you are putting up more and more moral conduct, moral restrainment, you are the very person to understand in this very life. And with that remark, I would like to sum up today's talk. Thank you very much for listening. Last time also we did kind of a ritual. This after the Dhamma talk, this is not the last event of the day, but we are sharing with all the seen and unseen beings. We are giving thanks to all the people organized, seen and unseen, and sharing merits with our relatives, and reminding and straightening our objectives. With that idea, in Sri Lanka, we traditionally recite some Pali stanzas. So those who know may follow it, others may listen carefully and adapt it, please. Ittavata mehi sambatam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavata mehi sambatam punya sampadam sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavata mehi sambatam punya sampadam sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Akasatta ca bhummatta devanaga mahittika punyantang anumoditva ciran rakkantu sasanam. Akasatta ca bhummatta devanaga mahittika punyantang anumoditva ciran rakkantu desanam. Akasatta ca bhummatta devanaga mahittika punyantang anumoditva ciran rakkantu mam paranti. Idang go jnati idang gotu sukita hontu jnatayo. Idang go jnati idang gotu sukita hontu jnatayo. Idang go jnati idang gotu sukita hontu jnatayo. Imina punya kammene mahami vala samakamo Sakam samagamo hotu yava nibbana patya Imina punya kamena